raise more money.
You don't cut taxes when you need that money to help. You should be investing.
You don't know, do you?
You should be investing
you just
in those
don't know,
services.
Do you?
No,
that's not process, that's the
you're
rules.
following the process, but there's a bigger principle at stake, that Labour Party members who are being asked to vote for you should know who's bankrolling your campaign.
That is why the Labour Party set up those rules.
But you won't tell us.
It was one of those interviews you just couldn't look away from. Andrew Neil, known for his razor-sharp questions, sat across from Angela Rayner, and it didn't take long for everything to fall apart. Neil asked her simple, clear questions about Labour's policies, but Rayner's answers were stumbling, stuttering, and shockingly empty. British politics. Like this one, don't forget to like the video. And subscribe to Dark British. Believe it or not, over 98% of viewers watch our content without hitting the follow button. Subscribing is completely free.
But they raised the capital gains tax in the coalition government.
Well, what I'm saying, Andrew, and
what you're saying is wrong. They raised the capital gains tax to 28%.
What I'm saying is that they've given tax cuts to absolutely the richest in the country.
She tried to defend Labour's plans, but the facts simply weren't there. Neil pressed harder, demanding clarity. Yet instead of answers, Rayner looked completely lost. Her numbers were wrong, the policies didn't add up, and at one point it seemed even she realized she was out of her depth. This wasn't a debate. It was a complete collapse.
Who's giving you more than £100,000?
These are the rules as to publication. Nobody's given me more than £100,000. That biggest donation went up yesterday or the day before.
And how much is that?
Was it £100,000?
£100,000?
Yes.
So that's your biggest?
Yes.
All right. Let's come on to policy. You made 10 policy pledges for this campaign.
This wasn't just a tough interview. It was a wake-up call. If Labour's leadership can't explain their own promises under pressure, what does that say about their plans? Social media exploded, with clips from the interview flooding timelines and people asking, is this really the future of Labour? Even Labour supporters appeared disappointed. Neil's interview didn't just expose Angela Rayner's lack of preparation, it revealed a much deeper problem. Promises may sound good in speeches, but when challenged by someone like Andrew Neil, the truth becomes clear. And here's the truth. Rayner couldn't defend Labour's big ideas, and the public noticed.
We've got to live within our means. We've got to have this austerity. We've got to cut. You've cut, and do you know what? Debt's rising, and the amount of money that's going into the economy, you've not made it better. Our economy is worse as a result of 6 years of austerity, and now you're saying all of a sudden we can spend money.
No, hold on.
And that's wrong because you're spending it.
You're just off now.
No,
let me bring you back to... let me bring you back to...
For Labour, this was more than just a bad interview. It was a reminder that voters are paying attention and their patience is running thin. If you can't back up what you say, how can anyone trust you to lead when it matters most?
Promised that you would end it within 100 days. You knew what you were going to do, right?
Well, I've been very clear that it's a very complex situation in regards to leasehold. We will abolish the current system.
It's part of a pattern, is that you, in opposition, pledged to do lots of things that you said were going to be simple, and now you're not doing them. Another one, for example, is we heard the Prime Minister this week, just a minute, Deputy Prime Minister, we heard the Prime Minister this week saying we were going to have 95% clean power rather than 100% clean power, whilst at the same time saying that the target hadn't changed. Well, it had changed, hadn't it? It had come down by 5%. People just hear politicians moving the goalposts.
Lewis, you were so good on my manifesto before. If you look at the manifesto, there was always a reserve, which has always been part to ensure that there is safety within the supply system. So you're trying to compare apples and pears. Our manifesto,
then why did you say 100%?
The security of our energy supplies is critical, and there would be a reserve.
Labour's bold promise to build 1.5 million homes might have sounded impressive, but it was what Angela Rayner didn't say that sparked outrage. In an interview shortly after her disastrous encounter with Andrew Neil, Rayner was hit with a tough question. Who are these homes really for? Are they meant for British families struggling to find affordable housing, or will they end up going elsewhere? Her response: silence, dodging, and a refusal to give a straight answer. She insisted Labour's housing plan was for everyone, but when pressed on the details, she completely deflected.
Are you content that more than 5 out of 7 new homes will go to immigrants?
Well, that's not the truth, and that's not the case.
That's what will happen.
Well, that's not the reality, because
where the 2.5 million immigrants that are in Rachel Reeve's budget figures going to turn up? Where are they going to live?
Well, there's plenty of housing in the UK, but the houses, especially
hang on. You can't, on the one hand, say we've got to build this 1.5 million houses, and then say there's plenty.
One non-answer spoke volumes to a frustrated public. Critics were quick to point out that Labour had previously promised to tackle immigration, yet migration numbers continue to climb. So are these homes really going to solve the housing crisis, or is this just another empty headline? What made things worse was how out of touch this promise seemed. Across many parts of the UK, families have been waiting years for housing, while the public feels Labour has done little to deal with overcrowding or rising rents. Instead of offering clarity, Rayner's constant dodging only fueled more suspicion.
You start the interview by telling me that there's a housing crisis. When I remind you that you have said yourselves as a government, we're going to need 2.5 million migrants. Some of them, by the way, people are going to build the houses. Suddenly, there's a lot of housing. Where are these people going to go?
Well, Trevor, first of all, when you say about building as well, the previous government did use migrant labour far too.
The question is simple. If Labour can't even be honest about who these homes are for, how can voters believe in their plan? The British public is tired of big promises with no real answers. People don't just want to hear about homes, they want to know who will actually be living in them. And if there's one move fueling even more outrage right now, it's Labour's decision to delay elections until 2026 or even 2027. For many, this isn't just a delay, it looks like a desperate attempt to cling to power. And the timing couldn't be more suspicious.
A Keir Starmer dictatorship. Rumours were swirling that Labour was going to cancel the local elections in England.
Why aren't they all going ahead?
And I would say, even before the white paper has been published,
Maybe there's a problem with the line. Why aren't they going ahead, Minister?
Well, at the moment, the assumption is that elections are going ahead. However, it's usual in a process of reorganisation that when a council makes a request for reorganisation, that if there are elections taking place to a council, that it essentially won't exist within the term of those elections.
Labour's approval ratings are sinking fast, and they know it. Meanwhile, Nigel Farage's Reform Party is gaining ground every single day. Once brushed off as a minor player, Farage is now shaping up to be a real threat. His direct, no-nonsense style is resonating with voters who feel ignored by the political elite. But instead of rising to meet the challenge, Labour looks like it's buying time. And people are noticing. The decision to delay elections has left many furious. It feels like Labour is running scared, dodging accountability at a moment when trust in their leadership is already crumbling. The polls don't lie. Voters are fed up with broken promises and weak policies. And now, rather than fixing the problems they've created, Labour is playing politics just to protect their own skin.
It's just been announced that some local elections may not take place next year in areas like Essex, Hertfordshire, Sussex, Lancashire and Kent. And instead they'll be delayed until 2027. Now, although Labour say they want to do this in an attempt to restructure the councils, their justification has come under heavy scrutiny because it follows a recently updated approval rating for Starmer of -61, which on the surface makes it look as though they're attempting to block the votes of those who don't want to vote for them. And with Keir Starmer now being labelled a threat to democracy, it's safe to say that their devolution plans are not being taken well by the